Good morning and welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 8th of July 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg. I'm here to bring you the tech news, even though, moin ASCII, even though there isn't actually a lot of things not much happening generally. Um, I mean, not much that I find interesting and that I think you should find interesting. But anyway, let's get into the topics we have. Might be a shorter show. Just a heads up. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I have gray weather. I'm just looking outside. It's raining. It's gray. It's relatively cold, just as we used to for the summer here in Hamburg. So everything's back to normal. Um, Something that is not normal, I think, is that Microsoft, that would be different, but Mozilla has been named a villain of the internet by okay, I have to look this up. I never heard of these people before. The Internet Service Providers Association in the UK, the ISPA, and alongside Trump because of his Huawei thing, which that might be understandable. But aside from Trump, Mozilla has been named as a villain of the internet, basically because they are promoting DNS over HTTPS, so the DOH protocol. Um, Register in the headline, starting the headline with DO, which is, I always thought that is an unfortunate abbreviation, but still. So, if you're not aware, of course, there are many technologies now being developed to encrypt DNS requests, because even with HTTPS traffic, so most of your internet traffic now is actually encrypted from your, the computer you're browsing the internet on to the server you're getting the website from. The traffic's encrypted. People can't look into that. But traditionally, the DNS requests have always been unencrypted. So if if your browser says, okay, I want to go to 6gun.org, what it actually needs is the IP address. So it needs to go to a DNS server and say, okay, I want to resolve 6gun.org. What's the IP? And the DNS server gives back the IP address. Now, this allows your internet service provider and possibly also other people on the net to see all the web pages you're visiting, because you're never actually entering IP addresses to go to websites, so there will always be DNS requests, so people can see what you're browsing or where you're downloading things from. Now, to fix that, several technologies have been introduced. One of them is DNS over HTTPS, which is developed by, among other people, by the guy who designed curl and develops curl, well-known Unix program. And he, like this. There are several technologies to encrypt DNS, but DOH is pretty cool because it just uses the normal HTTPS port, so it doesn't use its own port, which in a company environment that is pretty easy to block. But you can't really, since everything's HTTPS nowadays, you can't really block that port. Otherwise, you'd be blocking most of the web traffic. So that's kind of a cool technology. But because it works so well, it's also somewhat, it's somewhat controversial. I don't really understand why. But for example, this Internet Service Providers Association is basically saying Mozilla, by pushing this and wanting to introduce this DOH protocol in Firefox per default, is basically circumventing the UK web filtering. Because in the UK, certain um, websites that shouldn't be seen by minors, basically. So porn, basically. The UK is filtering porn, and they're doing a lot of that based. Well, they're doing this on an internet service provider basis. So you basically in the UK, as far as I understand it, I haven't, when I lived in the UK, that was before all this came in. So I only know from reading how it works. So basically, you have to prove to your ISP that you're over 18, and then you actually have to tell them, yes, I want the porn, and then they'll give you the porn. So they filter on an ISP basis, and the ISP obviously filtering this by DNS requests. And if they can't look into your DNS requests, then they don't know if you're looking, if you're accessing porn sites. And as Jonathan says, web filtering. Yeah. Well, the UK, started with this quite a while ago, actually. And I can see from I can't see why the internet service providers are saying this, because basically they are just trying to comply with the law. And if this technology doesn't make that impossible, it's like not their fault, right? They could go to the legislator and say, well, we can't filter this traffic. I mean, we can switch off their complete internet access, or they can get everything or nothing, but we can't filter this. I mean, I can see the legislator going, well, that is bad, but I don't really understand why the ISPs are doing this. So kind of bullshit. Also, not an argument against DOH. I think we should all encrypt DNS requests. That as Mozilla, I mean, I've disagreed with Mozilla in the past, but I think they're right here. I mean, that's the way forward. That's the way it should be, because HTTP, encrypting your traffic is only HTTPS is only one step. You also need to, encrypt, or you get rid of the metadata as much as you can. I mean, you will never completely win that fight, but as far as you can do that, we should do that, I think. Speaking of curl and open source in general, Debian 10, a buster, was released, I think yesterday or Saturday probably. Debian release, always big news in the open source community. Although it's not, Debian, it's not. It's pretty conservative. It's nothing mind-blowing about this. Although, as far as Debian goes, like the first point in these release notes is pretty big. They're switching to Wayland by default. Xorg, of course, still installed by default, and the default display manager that comes with Debian allows users to choose Xorg. Basically, so even though they use Wayland, they have GNOME installed by default, and GNOME uses Wayland by default. It's still like the display manager still allows you to switch to an Xorg session if you want for some reason. They got more reproducible builds, which is basically means that the packages you're actually getting are identical with with the, I think so that I think that all the packages on different platforms are identical. I don't know. It's basically so you can verify that the binary packages you get actually correspond to the source code, because obviously that's a big thing. Even though you have open source software, if you really want to be sure that the software running on your system is the same as in the source code repository, you can see you have to rebuild all the packages and then check them, and I think that is much easier now. Also another interesting thing, they're bringing in App Armor by default, so it's installed by default, also enabled by default. You of course can switch it off, and you can also use a SecConf BPF sandboxing, which I have never used. I have no idea how that works, but yeah. Got some UFI improvements, it seems, and they now have secure boot for MD64, i386, and AMD64 architectures. Say should work out of the box on most secure boot enabled machines. So this means users should no longer need to disable secure boot support in the firmware configuration. up until now, I think the default was to install Debian without secure boot. Now that works as well. And of course, lots of updated software, but not the, not the bleeding edge. You're not using Debian for that. Also, Linux 5.2 is out. Even less noteworthy big features. I think pretty much the headline feature is that ext4 now supports case insensitivity, which of course I think you wouldn't use per default on Linux. I think you need special software to activate it. I think it's for Android, certain Android use cases. You can now turn off security features if you're sure that you're running the code you're running is reliable, which gives you more performance. And they're kicking stuff out of your old drivers, even though it's more and more code in Linux kernel and the releases get bigger and bigger. They are kicking stuff out like ISDN for Linux, supposed to discontinue that support for obvious reasons. Yeah, just Linux kernel, some features. If you really want to, go to Heise.de if you speak German. Thorsten Lehmus, obviously, with his very, very long and thorough articles, if you're interested in the nitty-gritty details. Funny story. Jonathan H says that sounds like a horrible feature. Which one's that? The case insensitivity? Yeah, I think it's just for certain use cases that would be a feature. But yeah, I don't know. I think we should use lowercase for everything. It's just much easier. Funny story. So, like many government institutions, the German Bundeswehr, the army, auctioning off old hardware they don't use, and they auctioned off a few laptops. And a Forstbeamter, a forestry official in southern Germany, bought some laptops of them. And, they say usually if there was confidential data on this, on these machines, they would destroy the hard drives. And they put like labels on the thing so they know which one they have to get the hard drive out and destroy it. And this one was, the machines he bought apparently were mislabeled and they didn't destroy the hard drive. So what he got was confidential information, among them. Basically he got the hard drive and then he was like, okay, let's try to log in. And so basically there was still like the last username that logged in there, and he just used the same as a password and got in. So this forestry official, bit of a hacker. Among the things he found was an operating manual for the MLRS, in Germany known as Mars, the M270 MLRS, which is a multiple rocket launcher system, which the German army developed with some other European states and the United States Army. It's like this tracked vehicle with with a big rocket. If you played Command and Conquer, you basically, the rocket that rocket launcher vehicle in Command and Conquer is basically this MLRS. And he found a user manual for that kind of things. So the Süddeutsche Zeitung, which I think broke this story, is like citing from that manual how basically you use cluster munitions and rockets with that. So I thought that was interesting. So it's always interesting if you buy used computers, the kind of stuff you can find on their hardware that you get because people forget to erase their hard drives. And the Bundeswehr not much different than anybody else there. A German court in Munich has decided, I was reporting before the European elections, I was reporting on the fact that basically Twitter was banning all kinds of tweets related to the European elections, saying that they were banning satire and I was saying, well, how do they, like, in some cases they obviously didn't really couldn't tell that it was satire. Like, why would they ban satire? Why would that be bad? Now a court in Munich. They're running Windows now. They're not running Linux, so they're not Munich anymore. They're Munich again. Anyway, they've been ordered. They've been said you can't do this. This is illegal. You can't just ban people from tweeting satire. Just because there's an election on. And if they do that again, they'll be hit with a €250,000 in fines. Obviously, several SPD politician, CT editor, and several other people, like a lawyer, a well-known IT lawyer in Germany, their accounts got suspended because they were, in some cases, tweeting satirical things about the AfD or other things. I think the CT editor, who is also a local politician for the Green Party, tweeted about the Partei and tweeted, I don't think that was satire, but something, a comment. The Microsoft teaser, just rounding out the show here, I talked about earlier, where they were basically teasing old Windows stuff, has been revealed. It was indeed a Stranger Things tie-in, so Microsoft has revealed an app on the Windows Store. It's a Windows 1.11. Obviously has a Netflix logo on there, so it's not a real emulation. I think it's a bit of an emulation, a bit of a game. It seems to be like a real reality. What do you call these reality mixing games? So they've released that, and you can try that out if you want. I mean, there wouldn't be much use for Windows 1.11 anyway, I think. And also there's lots of Stranger Things tie-ins, because obviously second season is on Netflix right now. I found this hilarious. Polaroid has released, I think this is a modern Polaroid camera. I mean, they're still making them. They still work pretty much like the old ones, but it's I think it's got some new technology inside, but it does look like an 80s Polaroid camera, and it's branded Stranger Things. Obviously because of the 80s tie-in and whatever. But I like how they're making, like, how these websites are basically in the style of an 80s ad. It's pretty cool. I gotta say, I like that design. I just like that design's great and the color scheme's great. I think I just like things from the 80s for nostalgic reasons. But that's why I like Simon Stahl and Haag's stuff, and this fits right in. The color scheme's just great. €130. It's the world's brightest camera. 60-day battery life. A powerful flash to kill monsters. Yeah. I don't know. Actually, it makes me want to get one of them. I'm not a Stranger Things. I don't watch that, but still, this looks fun. Anyway, that's it for today. As I said, not much happening. I mean, okay, there's a Debian release. Hey, news, but not really that much to talk about. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. I hope you have a great day. Yeah. See you tomorrow, I guess. Until then, goodbye.